Building massive public infrastructure projects requires incredible engineering, but safely managing the billions of dollars funding them requires something much stronger. Public infrastructure consumes a massive share of taxpayer wealth. Deploying that capital requires a strict legal and technical framework. Informal agreements and simple handshakes cannot protect public funds at this scale. In Bangladesh, the BPPA oversees the legal framework, formulating policy and managing systems dictating public spending. Look at the financial scale. At $30 billion annually, nearly half the national budget, systematizing this process is the only way to deploy capital without risking financial collapse. The modernization effort began in 1999, maturing into formal law in 2006. The decisive shift occurred in 2011 with the EGP system, moving from physical paper to a digital network. Today, the BPPA sets policy, while EGP executes it, connecting every government ministry. Moving operations into an interconnected digital platform removed the manual bottlenecks where corruption typically thrives. Transparency at a national scale became an automatic algorithmic requirement. To understand how the government executes a project, we first need to separate two frequently confused terms: procurement and tendering. Procurement is the overarching end-to-end process, from initial planning and design through cost estimation, hiring, and management. Tendering occupies only a fraction. Highlighted in the blue hire phase, it's the competitive bidding window where the government invites bids and selects the contractor. A competitive bidding phase is entirely useless if the engineering and financial planning preceding it are flawed. The rigorous work happens long before any contractor submits a bid. That preparation follows a strict chronological sequence, beginning with site investigation and soil testing. The soil's physical composition dictates foundation requirements, establishing the project's baseline cost. Next, architectural and structural designs are finalized. The government calculates the projected budget using the Schedule of Rates, or SOR, a master index of pre-approved prices. Those standardized prices are used to compile the Bill of Quantities, or BOQ. The BOQ is an exact item-by-item breakdown of every construction task the design demands. Higher authorities review this BOQ to strip out inflated cost estimates. Only after passing this review is the tender officially floated on the EGP platform, allowing contractors to place bids. Locking down the precise technical design and unit pricing up front mathematically restricts a contractor's ability to arbitrarily inflate construction costs later in the project. The government does not apply a single uniform hiring process. Instead, they select from 4 distinct methods, categorized by accessibility and complexity, depending on the project's size, urgency, and technical demands. The standard approach is the open tendering method, or OTM, inviting bids from any qualified contractor. For smaller projects, they shift to the limited tendering method, or LTM, restricting participation. When natural disasters strike, competitive bidding is too slow. The direct procurement method, or DPM, allows the government to bypass the open market and deploy a specific contractor immediately. Highly technical infrastructure requires the one-stage, two-envelope method. Contractors submit 2 sealed envelopes. The financial proposal is permanently ignored if the technical standards in the first envelope are not met. Adapting the selection method allows the government to strictly enforce transparency during normal operations, while retaining the flexibility to respond instantly during national crises. After bids are submitted, they enter an evaluation funnel. The top rim of this diagram shows a strict 90-day time constraint, known as tender validity, limiting the government's exposure to fluctuating material prices. Inside the time window, the bids pass through rigorous filters. Contractors must prove a minimum of 5 years of active industry experience and demonstrate completion of similar work. The final mesh is purely financial. A technically capable firm can still go bankrupt mid-construction. Contractors must prove adequate financial stability and liquid turnover to guarantee operations without stalling. If a firm lacks the specific metrics to pass the funnel alone, up to 2 contractors can form a joint venture. This mathematically combines their track records to clear the evaluation hurdles. Risk management continues post-construction. The government enforces a defect liability period, withholding 5% of the contractor's payment for a full year. The capital remains locked until the structure proves flawless. This extensive filtering process ensures that massive public assets are built strictly by entities with a proven, verifiable history of competency, rather than defaulting to whoever submits the lowest bid. Winning the bid through the evaluation funnel does not mean a contractor can simply walk onto the site. Access remains strictly blocked. The project must now navigate an administrative staircase, preventing any single government official from unilaterally approving the release of massive public funds. Approval begins at the base level. While routine maintenance might be cleared at initial steps, higher budget projects trigger a mandatory escalation. The approval documents must climb through the ranks of chief engineers, scaling to the top ministry level. Distributing authorization power vertically across a multi-tiered hierarchy creates a built-in firewall against targeted corruption and isolated oversight failures. Once the highest required authority clears the project, 3 final legal milestones remain. First, the authority issues the notification of award. Second, the winning firm must submit a performance guarantee. This is a substantial financial security deposit, proving the contractor possesses the liquid capital to back their bid. It provides financial recourse for the government if the firm abandons the site midway through construction. Finally, with the contract signed and the monetary guarantee secured, the government issues the work order. This document is the ultimate legal permission required for the contractor to commence construction. By combining the digital oversight of the EGP engine, the strict mathematical filtering of the evaluation process, and a highly structured authorization hierarchy, the procurement system ensures that taxpayer capital is protected at every single phase of development. Winning the bid through the evaluation funnel does not mean a contractor can simply walk onto the site. Access remains strictly blocked. Projects must navigate an administrative staircase to prevent any single official from unilaterally releasing massive public funds. Approvals begin at the base level with an executive engineer. Higher budget projects trigger mandatory escalation, climbing through chief engineers up to the ministry level. Distributing authorization power vertically across a multi-tiered hierarchy creates a built-in firewall against targeted corruption and isolated oversight failures. Once the highest required authority clears the project, 3 final legal milestones remain. First, the authority issues the notification of award, declaring the chosen contractor the legal winner. As the final icon indicates, this document is the ultimate legal permission required for the contractor to break ground and commence construction. By combining the digital oversight of the EGP engine, the strict mathematical filtering of the evaluation process, and a highly structured authorization hierarchy, the procurement system ensures that taxpayer capital is protected at every single phase of development.